Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together.
Hey, leader. Welcome back to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast. Carol and I love being here with you every Thursday and just diving into hot topics on neuroscience, leadership, and just helping you be worthy, in your leadership, and also just being able to learn some great neuro hacks to help you show up being unleashed and unstoppable. And of course, not experience burnout in the process. And today's topic, it might not seem like the correlation, but there's a reason why we want to talk about this, because it actually does really help you not experience burnout as a leader, as a mom, as a CEO, right? Because a lot of times we find ourselves wanting to rescue people around us. And we really want to lean into talking about what is the difference between actually supporting the people around us and talk about the supporting, like the difference between supporting somebody and rescuing somebody. Because rescuing somebody in leadership is heavy, right? It's a lot on yourself. There's a lot of responsibility on yourself. Yeah. When you're supporting somebody, it's a lot easier. It might be more uncomfortable, because I think, just generally speaking, especially as women, it's innate in us to want us to think we're supporting someone, we're actually rescuing them. Yeah. And we want to support you in actually supporting somebody and being able to be comfortable in that space of supporting them, versus a lot of times that default of rescuing, even though we think we're supporting somebody.
So powerful. I love this. And it's such an important part of leadership. One of the things we're discussing with you all the time is that it is okay to ask for support. We do not have to lone wolf it. And so this ties in very much with what support, healthy support with healthy boundaries, can look like, so that you can actually achieve the results that you want to achieve faster, including with those around you. When we want to jump in and rescue, there are negative consequences to that. And I'm sure you could think of some. Some of what comes to mind to me is that you're enabling a person to stay stuck. You're enabling to stay limited from who they fully expanded are meant to be. And sometimes on our learning journey, it is by experiencing consequences that we learn. And it's this idea that we grow up with, that we can't fail. You can't ask a wrong question in school. Failure's a bad thing. But we speak about failure here as the first attempt in learning. And so just because you're experiencing consequences doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad or negative thing. Maybe a painful thing for a time, temporarily. And looking through that lens can help us, because if we're rescuing, we can interrupt a process of growth that can be a healthy process, and a process that actually drives somebody to be able to receive healthy support. And if you've been in a relationship that's been dysfunctional, I have been very dysfunctional, and I take full radical responsibility for that, then the thing about it is that you can, and this is not putting fault on anybody. When I say radical responsibility, that's very different than putting blame or fault on anyone or anything. So I'm not blaming myself. That would just be keeping me in a further victim state, and there are people out there who are doing things they should not be doing. And you may have been the result of that. And I want to honor that and acknowledge that. It's very important. So I want to be really clear here of the context we're talking about with female leadership and with our nurturing side that can come in and want to take over a situation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We may want to control a situation. We may
Yeah.
want to fix it for our
Yeah.
own ego and convenience, as well as interrupting a healthy growth process.
Yeah. I have a great example to share with the listener too, to maybe just help explain a little bit what that looks like. Several months ago, I was in a virtual workshop, and with myself and two other leaders, and we put together this workshop. Now, usually I'm the first one to put my hand up to do all the tech stuff because I'm very comfortable with it and can set it all up. And in this moment, somebody else raised their hand and I went, sure, yeah, go ahead. And in doing so, let's just say it hadn't been done the same way that I would have done it.
Right.
For so many moments I wanted to jump in and I wanted to jump in and fix it because again, right, I have this knowledge and I was thinking in my head, well, I know how to do this. So if I just jump in and fix it, well, it's all going to work perfectly.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I realized I'm like, hold on a second. And this is, again, this is the leadership, right? The more that we are leaders, we look and reflect and really see ourselves in this position. In that moment, I wanted to rescue.
Yeah.
I wanted to rescue us all from how I would have said, like from being embarrassed that some of the technology wasn't working and then making all these stories up. Okay, what does this mean about me? Because, I should know better, right? Like I'm like,
Yeah.
this is all the internal chatter going on. And I caught myself and I realized in that moment, had I gone ahead and fixed all the technology, my peers would have had never experienced the breakdown. And therefore, the next time that they did this workshop independently, they would have had no idea some of the things that needed to be set up.
Yeah.
And I celebrate that moment because usually,
Yeah.
typically, I would have gone and been the rescuer and fixed it all. But that wouldn't have served my peers because they never would have walked away in the debrief realizing, okay, the next time I set this up, I need to make sure that X, Y, Z is working. Because if I would have gone ahead and done it all, they never would have gone through the process.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying earlier, like it's uncomfortable sometimes as much as it's hard sometimes to watch somebody maybe struggle or not achieve something in a certain way, right? Fail is the first attempt at learning. Someone's got to take an attempt and sometimes have breakdowns and things not go the way that they intended to learn the lesson so that next time it goes that way. And it is challenging because there was a lot of internal chatter going on. I was making it a lot about myself as well of how it's going to make me look, look this way. But here's the thing. No one in the audience knew that I knew all this tech, right? Necessarily, unless, maybe some people, but generally speaking, right, that was the ego talking, me thinking that everybody knew and that everybody was judging me. But this is the thing. This is the mental game that goes on in our brains as leaders.
Yeah.
And as women, especially when we have the natural tendency to want to save, right? Especially if you're right, you're leading somebody else. You want them to succeed.
Yes.
But a lot of times, like 9 times out of 10, in order to help them succeed, there is, right? Like it's like learning. I mean, Amelia's learning how to walk right now.
I was just going to say, like parenting comes immediately to mind because if you're always rescuing your child and never allowing them to attempt something and learn through it, man, that can really be hard and scary. And as a parent, I can recognize where I made some of those mistakes on my own parenting journey, where maybe I rescued too soon. And then the lesson that came later was much bigger and much more painful, right? And I have amazing, amazing adult children in my life. So thank goodness we survived this journey.
Well, it's like the workshop, right? Like that was a small, more intimate workshop that we did that this happened. Had my peers not had experienced that, they now would have been in a much bigger workshop, and
Yeah.
it, it would have had a much greater impact. And so
Mhm.
again, in those moments, we don't always see that, but kind of
Yeah.
just going back to the example of like learning to walk, right? It's
Yeah.
part of learning to walk is one, being able to figure out how to stand up and then fall down and
Yeah.
test and try. And it's, I remember watching Abby learn how to walk, and then, Amelia is a totally different kid. And so watching her is fascinating to see how her brain is working and how
Yeah.
she's trying this and she's trying that. And it's challenging sometimes because
Yeah.
you don't want to watch her tumble, right? Like, and it's part of the process
Yeah.
because you know what? She tumbles and she gets right back up.
Yeah.
And if I go in and save her every single time, she's not going to develop those habits of just automatically getting back up and getting back up and getting
And
back up.
trying again. Yeah. Exactly. And so often one of the limiting beliefs that can hit us is that we want to give up, especially think when things get hard and pressing, we can feel like giving up, or we can even say to ourselves, that's it, I'm giving up. I've had it, this is it. But it's through the allowing of that process of learning how to walk that you create that ability to have determination, to have persistence, to have consistency, which are the things that lead to success. And I can think of a story with somebody that I know whose parents did everything for her, everything, didn't let her make her bed. She didn't have to worry about an outfit. She wanted something new to wear. It was instantly there. There were no household chores. School was a priority, but what happened on her journey is she became so unconfident,
Mm,
so lacking any belief in her ability to do anything. And she was just like, I don't believe that I can. And where she had to enter adulthood and learn how to do things to care for herself, it was an extremely painful journey. And she's had to work through a lot of lingering self-doubt about her abilities because her process of being able to learn and be in a safe environment to fail were constantly interrupted by those who wanted to rescue her. So, yeah, it's an important distinction because when we truly support one another, we're doing so with the belief, or this is what I advise, this is what I teach, do so with the belief that the person has everything they need inside of them, that you're empowering them. So when
yeah.
you come at support from that place, you can come alongside, you can hold a hand, you may even do something for them that they need done, but it's coming from a view place that this person is perfectly capable and that you are providing the impetus, the belief, the encouragement, the empowerment for them to be able to succeed. And that's a very
And
different way of supporting.
I want to just lean into to acknowledge like it's so automatic for us wanting to jump in and rescue. I even see it with Abigail, with
Yeah.
Amelia. She's so quick to want to help her sister. And it's
Yeah.
so beautiful one to watch that, which just reminds us like that's innately in us. We
Yeah.
want to help other people. We
That's a,
don't want to see people suffer. We
yeah.
don't. However, it doesn't always necessarily equate to really prepping them and setting them up for success, whether now or in the future.
Yeah.
And so, if you're listening to this, what I want to invite you to do is when you notice yourself wanting to jump in, pause for a moment and ask yourself, am I jumping in to support, or am I supporting this individual, or am I jumping into rescue? Is
Mm.
this person going to be avoiding pain or growth by me jumping into rescue, or
Yeah.
what could this look like for me so this person understands that they're still supported and I'm there for them,
Yeah.
and I'm allowing them and I'm empowering them to go through what they get to experience to come out on the other side. I
Yeah.
love what you said there, Carol. And I think if we can always be reminded that each and every single one of us has everything in us
Mm.
to achieve and be successful in what is that we want to create.
Yes.
And so when you believe that about yourself and the people that you are around, and you operate from that, ask yourself in those moments. And this is, I don't know if I'm going to butcher this expression, but it's like you teach a man to fish, or is it you give him
Yeah.
all the fish or something like that?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Do you
that's
give
it in
him
every
to fish or
moment,
do you teach him to fish? Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so these are the moments, every single moment. Are you teaching
Yeah.
whoever that is around you to fish,
Yeah.
or are you handing them a big bucket of fish,
I
right? Which,
love that.
you know,
Yeah.
they're gonna eat through it, and then they're gonna come banging on your door wanting more fish, right? And eventually you're gonna realize, like, oh man, they keep coming to me for the fish, which
I,
at first feels great, but
yeah.
eventually, time and time and time again, you're gonna get to a point where, like, okay, like it's time to teach you how to fish. And so
Yeah.
lead from that, lead from the lesson,
Yeah.
lead from meeting them where they're at as well. Because I'm
Yes.
going to cut with the
Yeah.
parenting teacher hat on. I'm going to
Yeah.
lean into also being mindful of,
Yeah.
age appropriateness, skill and knowledge level as well,
Right.
right? Like taking that
Those
in
are
the
so
case.
important. Yeah. Brain
But just,
development. Yeah.
yeah, right. I think it's important. We still acknowledge that and recognize that, because I've also seen the opposite, right? Where
Yes.
people are like, yeah, I'm supporting them, I'm helping them learn it. But they're
It's
down
not
here at the
age
very
appropriate.
beginning,
Yeah.
and you're expecting them, even with
Yeah.
team members, right?
Yes.
I see that, I see the opposite ends of it, right? So it's
You're
just
right.
in those moments, meet people where they're at. Are you rescuing them, or are you supporting
Yeah.
them? And what lesson or what skill or what is the person that you're supporting? What do they get to learn or experience in this, so
Mhm.
that the next time something like this they encounter, they're so much stronger, and
You-
they have the skill
And I think
to.
even a very practical, like I love the questions you're asking to ask yourself. A very practical way that this is seen is in marriage. Are you constantly wanting to step in and do something for your spouse instead of just letting it be maybe not your way or letting them figure it out? And you have to be patient and they want to figure it out. Like they don't necessarily want your help. There's some funny
Mhm.
comedy videos about like, don't fix it. I just listen. I want to. There was one saw a long time ago. It was hilarious. Where the woman is saying to the guy, I just want you to listen. I don't want you to fix it. I'm going to figure this out. And she has this huge nail sticking out of the front of her head. It was hilarious. But excuse me, it was a great example of that. It was a great example of, you know, then you're empowering somebody to come to a solution and you're there saying, I believe in you. I believe you've got this. I believe
Yeah.
you can figure it out. That's a beautiful picture of what support can look like.
And you said something there, Carol, that I'd love to drive home just as we wrap up here, is the patience piece.
Yeah.
We talked on a recent episode about our being,
Yeah.
and being patient is a way of being.
Mm.
And so, yes, it might require a little bit more patience or a lot more patience.
Yeah.
But think about the end in mind, right? Think about the vision. Go
Yeah.
back to, teaching the man or woman to fish versus constantly providing them with a fish. What is going to set the person up for success in the long run? And be reminded of that,
Yeah.
and lean into being patient, leaning into what is the vision, leaning
Yeah.
into how do I, going back to if it's with your children or with your team members, somebody that you're working with in relationship, right?
Yeah.
Think about how you're
With your
supporting,
clients.
yeah, the
Yeah.
development there, right? And
Yeah.
failing forward is part of growth. And so
Yeah.
we take a stand that you as a leader get to support those around you and continue to break free and interrupt the thought pattern of the default of wanting to rescue.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are legitimate cases where somebody may actually need rescue, and we're recognizing that for sure. But this is something where, on an ongoing basis, how you can really hone in and make your support so beneficial and so powerful to help elevate the people around you and spread that beautiful energy that you are operating in, the high vibe energy that is so important. And I'm speaking a lot more about that now because I love the quantum as well as the neuroscience. And um, there's so much, research about our frequency and what we're communicating when we just literally stand with somebody and let them know that we believe in them. When somebody tells me they believe in me, there is nothing like that kind of empowerment for me. I just lean in and drink that up because I'm like, "You- really? Okay, I can do it." It's like having that collective energy that's such a beautiful thing. So,
And sometimes that's the best support ever, right, Carol,
yeah,
to hear from somebody else that they believe in you.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm this is coming to my heart, Carol, of what I want to invite the listener to do. If you haven't done this yet today, I'd love for you to reach out to somebody who's on your heart, who's in your community, and I'd love for you to let them know that you believe in them.
yeah,
Once you have let somebody else know that you believe in them, I love to invite you to look at yourself in the mirror and to say to yourself, I believe in you.
yeah,
Because there's nothing more powerful than believing in yourself and being
yeah,
able to be able to look yourself, especially in the mirror, and say that and declare that
yes.
while also being able to let other people know around you that you believe in them too.
I love that. That's so beautiful. As we wrap up here, I want to mention to you that Alex and I both want to keep you in mind and bring to your attention ways that we can serve you. And I know, Alex, you are doing some amazing work with a certain web designer. And I, Carol, have a diamond transformation program that is a full-on program. There are layers and levels to jump in where you may be best benefited. And I also have a Principles of Wealth program where you can just get started as an introductory course, a 90-day course, 10 minutes a day, where you can learn what the principles of wealth are that are just like the laws of physics in the universe, your success clues that you can start operating by to bring abundance into your life. And a key component of what I teach inside the Transformation Program. So I want to invite you into that. And Alex, I'll turn it over to you to talk about that web designer.
Well, as you guys know, I also have my top neural productivity hacks in the show notes, and we talk about productivity and really using all the different resources to support you in being visible, in attracting your ideal clients, your ideal whoever those that you're serving is with your digital web presence. And
Yeah.
so yeah, head over to Peak Web Agency and learn more about the different services that we offer to help you build a peak conversion website to increase your visibility, increase and attract your ideal clients with ease to be able to convert more of your web visitors into your next paying clients.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week. Enjoy as you go out and be supporting and letting people know that you believe in them and you
And that
believe in
you're there for
yourself.
them.
Yeah. See you next week.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and review and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.